Welcome back to the Rockhounding podcast, everybody.
Always a pleasure.
Today we're diving deep into something that maybe doesn't sound super glamorous, but trust me, it's essential for any rockhound. It's all about cleaning those amazing rocks and minerals you bring home.
Yeah, cleaning is often overlooked, but it can make a huge difference.
Totally. You might have an incredible crystal or fossil just waiting to be discovered, but if it's covered in dirt or grime, you'll never see its true beauty.
Exactly. It's like finding a treasure chest, but not having the key.
Love that analogy. So where do we even start? There are so many cleaning methods out there, it's easy to get overwhelmed.
True, and the truth is there's no magic formula that works for every rock.
Right. Each rock is different.
Precisely, the first step is always identifying your rocks and minerals.
So we got to do our research before we even start cleaning.
Absolutely. Once you know what you have, you can research the best cleaning methods.
Makes sense, but there are still so many options even after I've identified my rocks.
For sure, but let's begin with the basics methods that are generally safe for most rocks.
Okay, like what?
Well, the simplest and often most effective method is good old-fashioned soap and water.
Really? Just like washing dishes?
Pretty much. Use lukewarm water, never hot, and a mild dish soap.
What kind of brush?
A soft or medium bristled toothbrush works for most rocks.
So gentle scrubbing, not a power wash.
Exactly. We want to loosen the dirt without damaging the rock.
Got a gentle scrub with soap and water. Good starting point.
Yep, and for stubborn dirt, you can soak them in soapy water for a few hours or even overnight.
Ah, so the soak helps loosen things up.
Right, and after soaking, you can scrub again with your toothbrush.
So soap and water, maybe a little soaking, our go-to for basic cleaning.
Right, and remember, always rinse your rocks thoroughly after using soap.
Why is that so important?
Well, soap residue can dry and leave a dull film on the surface.
Ah, makes sense. Thorough rinsing is key.
Definitely.
So what about those tougher stains that soap and water can't handle? I know a lot of rockhounds use acids, but I'm always a little nervous about those.
I understand acids can be powerful cleaners, but they can also damage some rocks.
Exactly. That's what worries me.
You got to use acids cautiously and responsibly. Most importantly, do your research before using any acid on any rock.
Research is crucial. Okay, so let's say we've done our research and we're confident acid is the right choice. Which acids are commonly used?
Well, one that's popular is hydrochloric acid, sometimes called muriatic acid.
Hydrochloric acid sounds intense.
It's a strong acid, but very effective for removing certain deposits like calcite or limestone.
So we'd use this on quartz.
Exactly. Quartz is very resistant to hydrochloric acid. It's good for cleaning quartz with calcite or limestone crusts.
Okay, hydrochloric acid for quartz. How do we use it safely?
Never use it at full strength. Always dilute it with water. About 10% acid to 90% water is good.
And then what? Just soak the quartz?
You can, but only for a very short time. 30 seconds to a minute is usually enough.
Wow, that's a quick soak.
Yeah, hydrochloric acid works fast. Don't want to leave it in too long.
Got it. Short and sweet, and then rinse thoroughly.
Absolutely.
Okay, hydrochloric acid is one option. What other acids are used?
Another one is oxalic acid, great for removing iron stains or rust.
Ooh, rust. I've seen that on some of my finds. How do we use it?
You dissolve oxalic acid powder in water, about 2 tablespoons per gallon.
And then soak the rusty rock in that.
Exactly. The soaking time depends on the rust, but a few hours or even overnight usually does it.
And then rinse.
Always. And here's a pro tip. After rinsing, you can neutralize any remaining acid with a baking soda solution.
Oh, that's smart. I never would have thought of that.
It helps to ensure that no acid residue is left to damage your rock over time.
Smart move. So we've got hydrochloric acid for calcite and limestone and oxalic acid for rust. Any other acids we should know about?
Yeah, there are a couple more. Acetic acid, which is basically vinegar, is a milder acid useful for removing light calcite stains.
Vinegar, like salad dressing vinegar.
That's the one. It's surprisingly effective.
Oh, no kidding. So how do we use it?
Straight from the bottle, just soak the rock for a few hours and then rinse.
Easy enough. Any safety concerns?
It's mild, so generally safe, but like any acid-prolonged exposure can build a surface. Don't overdo it.
Got it. Vinegar's good for a gentle clean, but let's not leave our rocks swimming in it for too long.
Exactly.
Okay, so hydrochloric, oxalic, and vinegar. Any others?
One more, phosphoric acid. This one's very powerful, best for really tough stains or rust that other methods haven't touched.
Phosphoric acid sounds serious. Where do we even find that?
You can often find it in products like navel jelly, which is used for rust removal.
Okay, so navel jelly for those extreme rust cases.
Right, but remember, phosphoric acid is strong stuff, Always use it with caution and follow the instructions carefully.
Got it. Phosphoric acid, the big guns.
Exactly. And one more thing about acids in general, always handle them carefully, wear gloves and eye protection, and work in a well-ventilated area.
Right, safety first.
Absolutely.
We've covered a good range of acids and their uses, but before we move on, I'd love to get your advice on cleaning specific types of rocks.
I'm happy to share what I know.
Great. Let's say I've got a piece of quartz, maybe some amethyst or citrine. What's the best way to clean those?
Quartz is generally pretty durable. You have some options if it's just dusty soap and water is usually enough.
What about stains?
Oxalic acid or hydrogen peroxide can work to deliver. Just remember to avoid prolonged exposure to strong acids. They can etch the surface over time.
So quartz is relatively easy to clean. What about calcite or aragonite? Those are softer.
You're right. Calcite and aragonite are more delicate.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be extra careful. Stick to gentle cleaning with soap and water only.
No acids, I'm guessing?
Definitely not. Acids will dissolve calcite and aragonite, so avoid them at all costs.
Duly noted, no acid baths for my calcite.
Exactly.
This is super helpful, and for those listeners loving this deep dive and wanting even more, be sure to join our Facebook group link in the episode description. It's a great community, and we love welcoming new members.
It's a fantastic resource for sharing tips, asking questions, and connecting with other rockhounds.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot in this first part, but there's more to explore. Be sure to tune in for part 2. We'll delve into more advanced techniques, including ultrasonic cleaners and mechanical methods.
See you then.
Welcome back to the Rockhounding podcast.
Great to be back.
We're picking up right where we left off, exploring ways to clean your rock and mineral finds.
Yeah, and as we've seen, the right cleaning method can totally transform a rock.
It's amazing how a little cleaning can turn a plain rock into something stunning.
Totally. Now that we've talked about soap and water and some acids, let's get into some more specialized techniques.
Sounds good. What's first?
Let's talk about ultrasonic cleaners.
Ooh, those sound high-tech.
They are, but they're getting more and more popular with rockhounds. They're really good at getting dirt out of those hard-to-reach spots.
Like those tiny crevices where even a toothbrush can't reach.
Exactly. An ultrasonic cleaner uses sound waves to make tiny bubbles in a cleaning solution.
Okay, and what do the bubbles do?
The bubbles implode near the rock and create these tiny jets of liquid that blast away dirt.
So it's like a tiny power wash for our rocks.
You could say that, but it's much gentler than a power wash. It's safe for a lot of rocks and minerals.
So how do we use one?
It's pretty simple. You fill it with water and add a cleaning solution.
What kind of solution?
You can use mild dish soap, or there are special ultrasonic cleaning solutions.
Okay, so water and solution in the cleaner. What next?
You put your rocks in the basket. Make sure they're not touching.
Why not?
If they're touching, the sound waves can't reach all the surfaces. They might not get clean properly.
Ah, that makes sense. So rocks spaced out in the basket, then what?
Then you just set the timer and let it run.
How long do we usually run it for?
Depends on the size and how dirty the rocks are, but a few minutes is usually good.
So a few minutes and our rocks are sparkling clean.
Usually, yeah, but ultrasonic cleaners aren't for every type of rock.
Really? Which ones should we avoid?
Don't use it on soft or fragile minerals. The vibrations can damage them.
Like what?
Things like selenite fluorite and calcite are really easy to damage with ultrasonic vibrations.
Okay, so those need a gentler approach.
Exactly.
So ultrasonic cleaners are good for durable minerals, but not the soft ones.
Right. Always do your research to make sure an ultrasonic cleaner is okay to use on your rock.
Got it. Now, what if we have debris that even an ultrasonic cleaner can't handle? Anything else we can try?
For those really tough cases, we might have to try some mechanical cleaning techniques.
Mechanical cleaning. Does that involve tiny chisels and hammers?
Not quite. We're talking about using tools like dental picks, fine brushes, or even needles to remove debris by hand.
Oh, so it's like very precise work on our rocks.
Yeah, it takes a steady hand and a lot of patience.
I can imagine. What kind of debris would we remove with these tools?
Things like clay-hardened dirt or little bits of rock stuck in crevices.
So anything that's really stuck on there.
Right, and mechanical cleaning can be good for delicate specimens that can't handle harsher methods.
That makes sense. We don't want to damage them.
Right, but it can be time-consuming and it doesn't always work.
So it's kind of a last resort. Before we finish talking about these advanced techniques, I'd love to hear your thoughts on sandblasting.
Sandblasting can work, but I don't recommend it for most rockhounds.
Really? Why not?
It can be very abrasive and it can easily damage the surface of rocks.
Like sandpaper on a painting.
Exactly. Sandblasting is best left to professionals who have the experience and equipment.
So not something to try at home.
Definitely not. If you're thinking about sandblasting, talk to a professional.
Got it. Sandblasting. Proceed with caution. And probably best to leave it to the experts.
I agree, and I think that covers most of the advanced techniques that rockhounds might use.
This has been so helpful. I feel like I've learned so much about cleaning rocks, from the simple stuff to the more advanced methods.
Me too. It's really interesting, and there's always more to learn.
And speaking of learning more, for our listeners who want to dive even deeper, check out our Facebook group. You can find the link in the episode description.
It's a great community, and we always welcome new members.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up, I'd love to get your final thoughts on rock and mineral cleaning. What's the one thing you want listeners to take away?
For me, it's all about respecting these natural wonders.
I love that we're not just cleaning rocks, we're uncovering their beauty and preserving them.
Exactly. So choose your cleaning methods carefully. Start with gentle methods and always be safe.
And it's okay to experiment a bit. Each rock is different.
That's right. That's part of the fun, figuring out what works best for each piece.
And, cleaning a rock can be just as rewarding as finding it.
Absolutely. It makes you slow down, pay attention, and appreciate these amazing things.
It's almost like meditation.
It really is. And when you see that rock finally clean and shining, it's so satisfying.
It's like you've revealed a masterpiece.
That's a great way to put it.
So as we finish up our deep dive, what advice would you give to new rockhounds?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. There's so much knowledge out there, and rockhounds are so welcoming.
That's true. And speaking of community, don't forget about our Facebook group. It's a great way to connect with other rockhounds, share your finds, ask questions, and learn from each other.
We'd love to have you join us.
You can find the link in the episode description.
It's a great resource, and we have a lot of fun.
Okay, everyone, that's it for our rock cleaning deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed this journey into how to clean rocks and minerals.
Thanks for listening.
And remember, every rock has a story to tell. Happy rockhounding, everyone.
Happy rockhounding.
Thanks for tuning in to the Rockhounding Podcast.